Hey guys, let's make an easy weeknight meal from scratch, chicken mushroom Alfredo. It's super simple. You're gonna wonder why you bought the jar in the first place. Let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna need is our chicken cutlets and our seasonings. I'm just going with straight salt and pepper for this one. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil to our pan, and we're gonna put our chicken cutlets in skin side down. Now, while our chicken's searing, let's go ahead and get to our knife work just so we can have everything ready to go in the pan when the chicken's done. We're going to move on to our garlic and our mushrooms. All right, once your chicken is got a nice, beautiful, hard sear on the top and cooked all the way through, we're going to just pull it off and let it rest for a few minutes. Next thing we're going to do, add a little bit more olive oil to the pan and put in our mushrooms. Hit them with just a little bit of salt and pepper, and that salt's going to help them leak out some of their moisture, and that's what we're going to use to deglaze our pan. Like I said, the liquid's leaching out of those mushrooms. Use that to deglaze and scrape up the little bits on the bottom of fond. Just add that nice little flavor into the pan. The mushrooms will reabsorb it, fortifying them just a little bit more, adding to a nice subtle layer in the sauce. All right, once your mushrooms have reabsorbed some of the liquid, but some of it's still sitting in the pan, we're going to move on to adding our next ingredient, which is our garlic. So that little bit of liquid is going to catch some of that garlic flavor. When the mushrooms reabsorb it, it's going to absorb some of that garlic deliciousness. And then we're just going to go until the garlic is aromatic and everything's a little bit dry in the pan, not too dry. We just want it to not have any standing liquid in the bottom, but we don't want it to be completely devoid of moisture. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our heavy cream. Now, you can do this with milk and a roux, but I like the richness that the cream gives, and the cream for me reheats better. So what we're going to do is we're going to build our Alfredo. Now, to build our Alfredo, this is the way that I found works the best. First, we got to let our cream heat up. We don't want it at a boil, but we want it at a pre-simmer, if that makes sense. Okay, so what you're waiting for is for the cream to get a layer on top of it, like a skin, and then just have a couple of bubbles around the side, in the center, wherever they happen to form, but you don't want it to actually start to simmer or boil. Then you're going to take your Parmesan cheese, spread it in there nice and beautifully. So here's my secret to the perfect Alfredo sauce, and pretty much any perfect cheese sauce that you guys might want. Once your cream gets to the right temperature, that's when you're going to go ahead and add your cheese, in this case Parmesan, and then you're just going to stir it in the pot. You're not going to whisk it real quick or too slow or anything like that. You're just going to keep things moving, because if you put your cheese in, then what's going to happen is the cheese is automatically going to want to sink to the bottom because it's heavier than the cream. Now, once it's on the bottom, the heat from the pan is going to make it stick, and then eventually it's going to burn. So you've got this clump of burnt cheese at the bottom, which spreads that burnt flavor throughout the rest of your cream, and it just makes it a nightmare. So the secret is, once you add your cheese, just keep stirring and stirring and stirring. Now, your cheese is the thickening agent in this Alfredo recipe. So if you want it a little thicker or it doesn't have enough cheesy taste to it, add a little bit more cheese. If it goes too far and you're like, oh, it's got too much cheese, or it comes out thicker than you want it, add just a little bit of milk, not heavy cream, to help thin it out, and just use it a little bit at a time until you get to that right sweet spot that you're looking for your consistency. All right, so once it starts to simmer again and you don't feel any clumps on the bottom, your Alfredo sauce is pretty much done. All we're going to do next is make sure it's the right consistency, adjust the seasonings. Now remember, the Parmesan has a lot of salt flavor to it, So don't go too crazy with salt without first tasting it. And then once it's at the right consistency and the right taste, we're going to go ahead and plate up. So I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, guys. So that's it. Simple stuff. Let's give it a quick taste. Creamy, cheesy, garlicky, mushroomy, chicken-y. Again, super simple. If you guys wanted to use a jar of Alfredo sauce, no judgment, no hate. I like mine fresh just because, well, it's easy to do it fresh. And I've always liked fresh a little bit more. I put mine on ravioli. You guys can put yours on fettuccine, angel hair, whatever you want. Enjoy, go nuts. Make something that you love. That's going to be the key takeaway from most anything that I teach you guys how to make. Make it the way you want it. Make it the way you love it. Chicken mushroom Alfredo, you're looking at about probably 15, 20 minutes, and you're ready to eat something beautiful, something delicious, something home cooked, warm you all the way through. Well, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you give it a try. Hit that like, share, comment, subscribe. All that great stuff helps me grow. And as always, thanks for cooking with me.